Oh, how fabulous. Hi, welcome to How Fabulous by Toni and Co. I'm Toni, and in today's episode, I chat to the very fabulous Lisa Watt. Now, Lisa is like me an advertising producer, so we are the people that will pull the whole shoot together. We organise stuff and we get shit happening. She is a very fabulous producer, and we talk about her career as a producer, how she started out as a stylist, all of the different transitions that she made, and now she is doing something else very fabulous. Well, she's still producing, but she is doing something else very fabulous. She is crafting and creating something. So we go into what that is. So yes, Lisa, I've got a lot of respect for her as not only a producer and a stylist and what she does now, but just as a person. She's a very, very cool and lovely lady. And I felt so pleased that she agreed to come on and tell her story and let me share that with you all. It's fabulous, as is she. So you need to get on board, be following her, and I hope you enjoyed this interview as much as I enjoyed sitting down and having a chat with Lisa. Hello and welcome to How Fabulous by Toni and Co. I'm Toni, and today we still have the squeaky chairs, but we are joined by the very fabulous Lisa Watt.
Hi, Toni.
Hi. That sounds weird when you say it like that.
Hello.
Hi, Toni. Hi,
Yeah.
Toni. Hi, Toni. Something. Anyway, sorry, completely distracted. Welcome again.
Thank you.
It's so lovely to see you after all these, like literally it's been years.
It has been years, absolutely.
I mean, we do keep in touch on social media, but actually seeing you in the flesh, I feel very happy that you're here today.
It's probably around about 10 years, I'd say.
I feel like it could be that or longer.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, and you look fabulous.
Thank
and we
you.
will get to that magnificent creation in your hair, because that's a very important part of what Lisa's doing at the moment. But let's go back.
Yep.
Just very quickly. So you and I met, and this is why one of the reasons why I wanted to get you in. We met in that wacky industry that is advertising.
Advertising, yep.
Oh,
yep.
Crazy. A long time ago, and we're both producers.
That's right, yep.
Print and you did motion as well, didn't you?
I did a smattering of video. Most of my career has been stills.
Yeah, but producing, casting, and also styling.
Yep,
You're a very excellent stylist as well.
Thank you.
And then you moved on to ... Wait, you have to keep with us, because then you'll find out later what she's done. And so we met years ago, and it was kind of a bit of a different. I guess I sort of feel like it was a different life for me back in the advertising days. I still love the industry, but I loved the time when I was really getting to understand it. I remember getting a call that I was successful in getting a job as a stylist back at Gasworks, which was Mattingly and Partners. And I have to tell you, I honestly really didn't know what a stylist was. I didn't know what a stylist was. I would not have a clue. That wouldn't have been a thing that I ever thought, I'm going to be a stylist. So how old were you then, Lee?
I would have been in my mid-20s. I had just finished a course at Melbourne College of Decoration, which no longer exists.
I love that, the Melbourne College of Decoration.
Which did end up going on to be RMIT, or they took up the course.
Why did they change the name? I don't understand.
For obvious reasons. And that was a course in applied arts and visual merchandising. Could never quite commit to fine arts. Always had to make certain there was a commercial element to everything that I've done so far. And I got a job actually at the Old George's as a window dresser, and the stories I could tell you about that were absolutely fabulous. I graduated to raking the pebbles that were in the gallery windows, which have now since long been pulled down.
Where was George's then?
That was in Collins Street.
On Collins Street.
Yeah, the gorgeous Old George's. But I got a call, so I went for an interview for it to be a stylist through a connection through one of the teachers, and I got the job, and just went on from there.
Wow, so what were you actually styling there? Clothes?
The one I had, the biggest account they had was the Myer account. That's one account that's really followed me right through my career.
Indeed it has.
Yeah, so I started, you know, putting toast in the toasters and stocking the fridges, because they was, at that stage we were shooting absolutely everything. One of our biggest joys, you may remember, they used to sell curtains. We used to have to do curtain shots, sewing machines. Now a lot of that photography, as we know, comes from suppliers direct, but we were doing it all, and I have some wonderful memories of the people that I worked with back then. It was a huge learning curve, and brilliant for your social life.
did they dress fabulously? Like, what was the vibe of a stylist back then?
I don't know if I really ever found a style back then. I think I was chasing it. There was a lot of beautiful people that I was working with, so I was kind of just a sponge picking it all up. But I learnt very quickly there was a difference between a fashion stylist and the styling that we were working on, and that stuck with me all through my career. A true stylist, a fashion stylist, to me, they live and breathe fashion. They know it.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we were kind of jacks of all trades. It certainly taught us composition, contemporary styling. We'd interpret it. You know, when the wardrobe racks would come in from Myer, we could interpret the styles, but we weren't creating fashion looks. We were interpreting them for the commercial market. But it was great fun. I got to see a lot of Australia because of that job.
Oh, really? So why did you travel around Australia for that?
Well, it was interesting. We were an in-house studio, lots of staff. A lot of travel was done because we were chasing sun in the middle of winter in Melbourne to get a summer look for our, you know, we were always shooting campaigns months ahead, as you know.
Yeah.
I did some fabulous travels through top ends of New South Queensland, all around the Sunshine Coast, of course, and Noosa. Did trips to Fiji for Mishop shoots, all sorts of things like that. Yeah, good fun. Yeah,
I love it.
Fun. I think the most fun was I was a frequent flyer at the old Sebel Hotel in Sydney.
Oh,
yeah.
Memories.
Yeah, yeah, that was great fun. Constantly flying up for shoots, because it was quite often cheaper just to fly up a stylist with the suitcases and then actually work with all the, because of course Sydney is where all your international girls and guys fly in, so instead of flying them all down, we would go up. So
much cheaper.
Yeah, got to work with some gorgeous people.
Oh, you would have lots of stories of when it wrapped. And can you share like even one that was a bit juicy but no names?
Juicy story. I don't know if I've got. I could.
Think about that. We might ask you later then.
I did have a few people walk into my hotel room and get invited to a few good parties at the Sebel, impromptu parties. And they're prominent people, but I can't name names. I did swim in the pool with Julian Clare and his mum. Yeah.
Before he did, what was that program he did? The medical one?
I don't know.
And it was an American one. He got really famous. I mean, after Demi.
He did. He was quite a name on TV at the time. Yeah, I wouldn't know the timings, but his mum was gorgeous.
Oh, she would have been so stylish.
Yeah, so we just had, and he was just the sweetest guy. Guy. Yeah.
I'm glad you say that.
Yeah.
Because I would have been distressed if he wasn't.
Yeah.
Now, he went on and did big in America. He did a show called, oh my God, that's going to really bug me now.
Yeah.
But it was a doctor. He was like a surgeon.
Oh, really?
Good doctor?
No, not the good doctor. It was something else. I will come back to that.
Okay.
So there you were, mid-20s, living the life of a stylist, being zipped around Australia, staying at the Sebel, partying with all these fabulous people, and then getting to see what Australia had to offer, the different designers, because a lot of the designers would have been Australian, or was this all stuff coming in from overseas?
Do you know, all the labels that we worked with, there were some international ones. A lot of that is actually a blur to me. That was at the time where Maya was bringing in a lot of their own labels as well.
Yeah. It's changed so much now.
Yeah,
I do a lot of work with Maya,
absolutely,
and it's quite different.
It has. I tended to do a lot of the menswear, which brings me to a very strong memory of, we stayed in shearers' quarters in far northwest Queensland, and we could only run one PowerPoint at a time.
Oh my goodness.
And I was, the women's stylist got priority over getting everything prepped. So, you know, here you are prepping at 4 a.m. in the morning and out for first light, you know, getting all the men's gear ready. It was good fun.
I love that. There's nothing like a shoot, a
nothing you won't do for a job.
Yeah. And so you loved that, and then what happened? You went, oh, I need to be doing something else now.
I had a moment with styling that I got to the point where I was just sick of feeling like I was moving house every day.
Yeah, it can get like that.
Yeah.
The pack up, the pack down.
Absolutely.
Have I got my pins? Have I got my, and the steamer and and then move on, and you're trying to keep track of everything.
Absolutely.
I get that. Yeah.
I had just started to get a few jobs because I did go out freelancing. I left Gasworks. I did go out freelancing, and I was getting a few jobs that had. When you're freelancing, they're asking you to do more production, not just the styling element of it. And I really liked that side. And all my career, it's a little nag that's been on my shoulder, and I'm not happy about it, but it's being conscious of age and relevance has always been there, and I felt that the styling, I was just interpreting other people's work, and I felt like I could maybe offer more as a producer, and I felt like there was longevity in that. So it was a bit of a strategic move, but I have to say, this is embarrassing and will age me, I hadn't turned on a computer.
Yeah, but you know, that's okay.
Yeah,
we were just saying before, I was talking to my previous guest, and we were saying, you know, when I got one of my first major jobs in advertising, I would get my briefs, this was at a recording studio as a producer, on a fax, type up the labels for a quarter-inch tape, send it round to the radio station. That's how old I am.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Well, I was very proud the day I got a fax machine, and I said, you have to
no
send the brief through. No email.
Yeah.
But I hadn't. Look, I was in high school. I remember saying to my typing teacher, I flat out refused to learn how to type.
Oh yeah, our typing teachers.
I'm never going to be a secretary. I mean, that was the thinking back then. So I really pushed that aside. And look, who knew that I was going to need those skills?
Yeah.
But I went out and bought a fabulous Bondi green iMac. Remember those?
Yes. Yeah. And they had all the different colours, like blue or orange.
I had the first generation, and I taught myself how to use a computer. I think I had it on
the side and the DOS,
the boot up. And then I went in and approached production house who had then got the Maya account, and I said, I'd like to be a producer, please. And I was lucky enough to get a break.
And do you think you were lucky enough to get a break because you were at the right place at the right time, or they'd seen a combination of both? They just went, yep, we know Lisa, she could do anything. She knows how to make stuff look great, but yeah, she can organise stuff, and let's just do it and do that. Because I sort of feel like I totally fell into it.
Yeah, I do have a self-confidence that I've learned I can do it, and I'm prepared to put the extra work in if it's something that I have to learn. I remember staying back quite late just so I'd get things right. And that wasn't on their time, that was on my time.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think that's really important, and I think you and I are a similar kind of generation where I can't tell you how many free jobs I did. And I learnt, if I didn't know something, can I just attach myself to you for a few days or a week? I'll help you do that. I'll help you pack your car. Tell me what you need to do. And then don't tell me what to do. I'm just going to do my own thing and just help you, whatever it is you need to do. So, we just did that to learn and to get jobs and to get noticed.
Absolutely, and it's something that I still have to continue to remind myself to this day. Sometimes you just need to shut up and listen and observe. I think early on in my producing career, it's a real adrenaline rush, and you've got so many people you need to coordinate, and you need to charm everyone, and you're talking to local council, and they're determined to say no, you can't. You can't shoot there.
We're going to make an example out of this brand because we don't like that they've come from overseas and they want us to shoot on that day. We're going to say no. You can't shut that road down.
So true.
Oh, I've had that before.
But you can't get a no.
Yeah.
You can't get a no. You have to get a yes.
Yes, that's it.
You have to get a yes. So it takes a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And through that period, in my private time, I couldn't pick up a phone after hours because I was so burnt out from it. But one thing I had to learn, I wasn't listening to people anymore. Now, it actually went through to my personal life. So professionally, I'd be looking at someone, I'd be giving the impression I'm listening, but I was like, pretty soon they're going to stop so I can tell them what I need them to do.
I know exactly that feeling.
Yeah.
Because you know that there's 37 things that have to be done as a producer because you've got 35 people that need to be coordinated and you're doing it on time and money and the thing is that. And so but then, okay, now go and do this.
Yeah.
I do the same, I've done the same thing and I had to really pull myself up at home because Phil would say, you're not the producer here now.
Yeah,
you can't tell me how to do that. I had a little bit of that
action too. I had a coffee with a girlfriend and, you know, I remember thinking, I put it out there, I said, I've just got to learn to listen again. And she said, you do. And I said, wait a minute, that's not the answer I wanted back. I was expecting it. Oh no, you don't do that. But when I got it back, I went, it's time to actually.
Lucky you had that, you know, and this is it. Lucky that you had these honest people in your life and that you had that kind of, I've got to do that because otherwise, you know, you just are just a bossy bitch all the time. And I know
it can still creep in. But it's something that I have to just keep a check on.
Yeah, but you know, I think that's your job as a producer, right? We're the mums on set, not even on set, just before.
So true.
Just before that, you know, you've got a lot of pressure on you to make shit happen on time, on budget, and then look after every single person there, their ego, and their welfare, and their stomachs, and the children, and and then you're looking at time and so sometimes you have to be quite firm but fair, and you just have to make it happen because everybody is relying on you to make that happen because the makeup artist has no clue about what the next thing is. She's waiting for you to tell her that that's how it is. So there's a way that you have to be able to communicate that in a way that's effective because otherwise you're not running the shoot, are you?
No, and there's a budget to keep too.
Yeah, shit, yeah, absolutely. And so, you know, have you over your so you got out there and you're producing and then you're doing Maya and you're at Badger and that's how you and I, in fact, we met through me coming in to Maya to
that's
go,
right.
Can I have a job, please, Lisa?
Yeah. She was fabulous too.
You know, with my big folio, like back in the days of a massive big
I know,
folio.
I've still got mine.
I've got mine under my bed. It's so heavy. Yeah. And I look back at the jobs and go, that's so funny. And then you went on to Badger, and then we did another big fabulous job together with Jamie.
Yeah.
And then you went to another big agency. So you're producing and casting and knowing everything. And did you ever feel like your brain was just so full of contacts? Do you ever feel like that? Like it's overflowing?
Yes, absolutely. But the longer I stay in this industry, the more I realise there's so many more people to know and meet.
Yeah.
You can, when pulling teams together as a producer, it's you're thinking as much about the personality fits as you are about the skill.
Yes.
You might
that is probably one of the most important things,
isn't it?
Because you've always got 5 amazing shooters that are all on that level, but you're thinking, is that guy going to fit with that stylist and
absolutely
that and the thing?
Absolutely. So I really believe it has to, a crew needs to, obviously, one, for the client, fit their budget, but they need to feel like they're a team and they can work together. I always like to certainly some jobs that I was producing, and these are the ones that I love the most, really strong campaign work where you would actually send the brief out to a photographer for them to actually pitch and come, I love those jobs, where they come back with their creative execution, and then they would tell you how they might like to actually break down the budget. And I really like that because you're not stifling their creativity. Obviously before it goes back to client, you would be finessing and telling them where you might need to shave things off. But it's a really lovely way of producing because it's keeping everyone in control and everyone has the ability to say yes or no. So I might be going off on a tangent, but I'll tell me if I am. I remember when I was styling, I worked under a producer, and the default answer was always no. The very first was no, 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 and I promised myself going into producing I would never be a no producer.
No, you're definitely not that. You're a gun.
It's always a yes.
A gun and a calm producer.
Oh, thank you.
There it is. A gun and a calm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's obviously the yeses come with T's and C's.
Of course. Yeah. With the small print. And I'll tell you about that later, but calm. Calm is, the way to go.
Yeah. Never be anyone else's bad day.
Yeah,
is the way I try to run. And if there's anyone out there that tells me I have been someone else's bad day, I'm sorry, I don't do it intentionally.
Bet you haven't. That's bullshit. You would never have done that. That's not your vibe.
Make everyone feel like they're important and part of the process.
And do you have a favourite kind of shoot that you like to, do you like working with fashion, or is it cars, or is it lots of locations?
I've got some strong memories of some food shoots that I really enjoyed. The process, the problem solving and the process through that. Yes, fashion, not as much. Having said that, shoots that have a fashion element to them, yes, absolutely. There's nothing more joyful than getting everyone together and then watching the magic happen. And watch it, and when the magic happens, it's just delightful. And then you end up looking at that monitor and you're going, and you're seeing the client there, and it's a beautiful moment, isn't it?
And then you go, oh my gosh, that happened. I really like location shoots. With that whole kind of lots of people, big location, heaps of stuff to get done. And when it all happens, and I think one of the best things for me is when you have, someone, and it's not necessarily the client, just someone that will go, oh, we really enjoyed ourselves. Often it's like the extra talent that just turn up and watch. They never say anything, and they sit there for 7 hours waiting. And they go, oh, that was so good. And it's really nice. It's a nice sort of compliment, because often you don't get it from crew and things like that. And so then you moved. Well, you're still producing, of course. Adairs. Oh my God, I loved Adairs so much.
Adairs so much. Now, I've just recently left Adairs. I was there for 2 years. I had always said I wanted an in-house experience. So I've always been servicing clients, so I wanted to be embedded in. They're one of the unique businesses, very clever. They've built a world-class studio, incredibly talented crew, joy to work with.
See, that's really nice that you say that. That's very cool. They must have, whoever's set that up has got a very smart head on them, because that doesn't always happen with in-house studios. It's often not that way.
They do respect the creative process.
That's
they really
great.
do. I'm
happy to hear that.
Yeah, they really do. And I learnt a lot actually being embedded in the business. Very strong connection to the marketing department and the way creative briefs were coming through. It's a business like many others that is constantly evolving, but the content that is produced in that studio and the variation, it's a real testament to the talent that's there. It really is. And they've been there for some time. For me, why did I left because of the commute. So I'm in Melbourne's West. Their head office is based in Scoresby.
Oh,
yeah,
that's a
yeah,
lot.
and that's effectively the reason. I had to really do a stock take on the work-life balance, and now that the COVID traffic restrictions,
It's exactly like
the traffic's
it was.
is worse
It's
than
a
ever.
menace.
And I would tell myself every night when I left work, I'd leave in a good mood, and I would get in that car and I'd be foul at the end of the day when I walked in the door at home.
Yeah.
And I didn't have energy for anything else. And I really have been really wanting to, I push myself to have more hours in a day than there are. And the drive was it, yeah.
You know, and I think sometimes, and we've talked about this a lot today, that, okay, so I honestly don't think that there is such a thing as work-life balance, especially when you are a freelancer.
Yeah.
I just don't really think it exists at all. So my approach now, and it's been like this for the last couple of years, or a few years actually, so before COVID, is about the things that you can do in every day, because you know, often you would find you're working on the weekend. I work on the weekend. I work wacky hours, wacky days. It's intense. I'll go off shooting for a week and then I'll come back and, you know, whatever it might be. But to grab onto those little moments each day. So whether it is just sitting with my son for 5 minutes and having, you know, he'll have a glass of milk or I'll have a coffee or whatever, or taking him to school. Or just talking about something that we've never spoken about before, or, you know, on the spur of the moment saying, yeah, we're going to go out for dinner, or, you know, just bumping into someone and actually, like you were saying, listening and taking the time to take time out in all of that, not feeling like I'm going to wait until I'm not so busy to then slot in that goodness there. Yeah. Because that goodness never comes. So true.
You're chasing rainbows.
You're chasing rainbows. And so, you know, I sort of feel, especially as I get older, that it's far more important to be doing that. Whereas when I was younger, I was not, you know, I don't regret it because, you know, it was what it was, but I could fit in what I could fit in as a working mum and juggling and working around fill working and things. But I do appreciate more every single day this, you know, in my life now and recently,
I'll take a bit of that advice with me.
I am sage. I'm an old... well, I think, you know, because I used to always bang on about, work-life balance, and when I finish, not being so busy, and I just need to get through this shoot, I just need to get through that project, I just need to do,
and the next one's come up.
And the next one comes up, and you're like, oh my God, it won't change, it won't change.
But don't you find that being a freelancer, the energy is constantly there?
Yes.
Yeah, because it is a switch to a new client, a new brief, a new creative direction, so that's keeping you fresh.
Correct, yes. And I like that. You know, do you think you could ever go back to working for an agency or something like that, even working for yourself? I know I couldn't. Someone actually, no, you answer, I'll have to tell you this.
Well, that's a loaded question for me, because I loved agency life. I absolutely adored it. I loved the martyrdom of agency life.
I know, it's hilarious, it's great.
Sorry honey, I was coming home at 8, we've just got, you know, pictures landed, I'm here all night. I loved that stuff.
The drama.
I love it. You know, I really, really, really loved it. And without sounding melodramatic, I think agency life gave up on me, not the other way around.
So you still have that real passion for
absolutely.
agency?
You know, I come from a family of educators, I've accountants and so forth. I have very proudly said I make people buy things for a living that they don't need. That's my passion. I love it. I love everything about the advertising industry. And I think it was in my mid-30s, I was in we won't name agency names, but there was a weekend getaway that was organised. It was going to be a big brainstorm, and they're going to have weekends away with different members of the agency. Well, they never got past from the first weekend because they were banned.
I can imagine
But
why.
one of the things that came out of that is that they'd spoken about wanting it to be a young agency, and that they were looking for to be really 40 and under. And I was like, holy hell, I was 36 at the time.
Oh my God.
So to me that was a real trigger, like the tick, 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 you know. And I just kept going. Because I got a bit of an ego. I'm good, I'm good.
I can do this, shouldn't be age relevant.
Then I slowly but surely found, I'm not invited into boardroom meetings anymore, but I'm being asked to do a lot of the grunt work and so forth. And I was feeling the push to that I wasn't relevant. Now, some of that could be my baggage, absolutely, but I think my perception's pretty keen. So I haven't felt that in all facets, but certainly, I felt that the industry was telling me I'm beginning to be irrelevant.
That makes me feel sick.
Yeah, it's the reality of, but it hasn't stopped me believing in my passion. And doing a little bit of a stock take of where I am and what I can offer, and just keep going.
Exactly, but you know, you're an excellent producer. No one can take that away from you.
Thank you.
And that's it, end of story.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you were male, whether you were 25, anything else, you're a gun producer, so there's that. And you know, that's the thing.
Thank you.
And I think maybe you just need a little reminder of that. And it's
Bless
so you mustn't forget that.
Yeah.
No one can take that away from you. It doesn't matter if someone is younger or whatever that comes along that can do whatever. There is nothing that replaces experience.
No,
30 years in the industry is a shitload of time to negotiate all different jobs, all different budgets, all different egos, all different temperaments, and that is the thing that you actually get as an experienced producer, as an experienced stylist, as an experienced person, like an older person, you know. And that if I had a sniff of anybody saying that I was no longer relevant because of my age, that would be really upsetting. A, I wouldn't want to work with them anyway. But B, I think it is a thing in the industry, perhaps. It is,
and
but we shouldn't accept it.
No, we shouldn't accept, absolutely. And I feel it's not just age; it's physicality as well. To be honest, you know, I don't want to make this an empowering women's conversation, but you know, there's moments through my career. Look, I remember being approached by someone, did I want to do a bit of an expose for a newspaper on the things that happened in agency life, and I went, no, because I want to actually continue to work in the industry. But you know, I was fat shamed.
Really?
Yeah. And that takes you get take a blow from that. Wow. But you know, I've picked myself up, and obviously maybe now I'm bringing it up. It's still nagging there a little bit.
How very dare they?
Well, you know, it is.
It can be a brutal industry, but there's two sides of it. It can be so brutal. It can be so frustrating. It can be, you know, I remember finishing a shoot and going, I'm never fucking working for that client again. They're so rude and and then next thing you're like, and you look at the pictures and you go, best shoot ever. I loved it. Oh my God, I'm so going
true,
back there.
So true.
And it can be brutal. And you know, I've been, you know, certainly talked down to by many a male producer in my life, let me tell you.
Absolutely.
And a photographer and crew members and all that sort of stuff. But you and I are both, I think, you know, of the kind of character that we can shut that down real quick.
Absolutely, yeah. I didn't give it air. Yeah, it hurt, but
the ignorance of some, how pathetic.
Well, you know, you can't change. You can't change.
Well, you can't change that. You can't change how people perceive you. But it is a brutal industry. But it can. My point was, it can be just so awesome as well.
Look, I still love it.
Yeah,
I still love it.
It can be so awesome, and it is full of so many amazing people. Yeah. But you decided that you would do something else as well that is so fabulous.
Yep.
And that is to become a
milliner. Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
And so how did you decide to do that? Was that a...
Well, earlier on I mentioned that I studied at Melbourne College of Decoration, applied arts. All my career I have believed in myself creatively, but I never allowed myself to actually explore that financially.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, always sort of chasing the security.
Yeah.
So I danced around it for so long, and deep down I really thought there is creative expression that needs to come out. And you know what? I was a stock take of working out my relevance in the industry, not wanting to give up on it because I really do love it. I actually did a production for the VRC, a big campaign, and through that period,
Was that Bronwyn?
Yeah,
Oh my
Bronwyn,
God,
Virginia.
that was amazing.
It was a remarkable shoot.
Oh,
yeah.
she's a very clever lady, as is Virginia.
Absolutely. Well, that's a great example of bringing people, you know,
a brilliant team together,
let
and just
them
letting
drive.
them do, let them do their thing. Yeah.
It was wonderful. I sold my soul to that job for months. We were shooting, and through that period, through Virginia, I was being connected with these incredible makers, like day after day, shoot after shoot, all of these beautiful pieces were coming in, and watching her curate was quite remarkable.
Yeah, it would have been fascinating.
And I was just looking at these things, and I actually picked up a Philip Tracy hat. Now, I had been playing with making, and I'm embarrassed with a lot of those hats when I look back at, but they gave me confidence.
They got
never
you there.
never diss what you've done. Just enjoy the journey. Well, I picked up a Philip Tracy, and I thought, well, it was a remarkable piece, and I went, yeah, I want to do this.
Wow.
I want to do. So that was a turning point for me, and I started to look and started to actually just play at home, and I went back to study. So I did 3 years.
Was that a full-time course?
No,
or
it's not full-time. It's an interesting industry actually, because it's a bit of a dying art. Kangan Institute almost lost funding for this year for the course because they're hanging on. They've got a full year, and it was part-time, so it was a fabulous ride, fabulous. And it took away a bit of the mystique because it was a bit sort of magical for me. But I've learned a trade. Yeah, it's just a trade. It's how you interpret the trade and into designs that really, helps you express yourself. And I just love it. I'm addicted. I'm completely addicted.
And if you follow Lisa on social media, which will tell you all of that, just tell me what it is quickly now.
Oh, I actually work under my married name, Lisa Hughes Millinery.
There it is.
Yeah.
But we'll put that on the business, on the thingy that goes up on the blah blah, on the blurb thingy. You need to follow her because you look at her beautiful drawing. So your drawings are even amazing.
Oh, thank
then you go, oh my gosh, she can draw. And she can make and craft, and they're just so amazing.
Yeah.
And so how do people, like, what happens? Do people commission you, or do you just do one-off pieces, or do you sell at a shop, or?
Well, now that I've actually left a full-time job, which was really holding me back in terms of actually seeing where millinery can take me. Yes, crazy time when maybe people's spare cash isn't necessarily readily there with, hits people have had with COVID. I've taken the leap to actually put, a lot of focus into the business. I get direct commissions. People buy from pieces that, I just randomly make. I think I'm on a huge learning curve in terms of looking at putting out collections and so forth. I tend to have a habit of making something, enjoying that creative expression, and then not going there again, and then moving on to another piece.
Right.
Maybe that's not good business, but gosh, I'm enjoying it. And
that's what you have to do. You have to still enjoy what you do, otherwise you're not going to do it.
Exactly. I just love, I suppose when I was talking about that drive that I used to do, I used to physically make hats in my head. I would get them to a certain point, kind of like production. You'd play out your production day. So I would think, I've got an idea, I need to do this, and I would get it to a certain point. Well, when I was first started, I'd make it right through to the end in my mind, but now I will start it and I'll get about halfway, and then I'll say trust the creative process, because there's a lot of fun when you're actually working with a material. You get it, you've given yourself the direction. I often write creative briefs for myself, by the way.
Of course you do.
and then enjoy, you know, it's so joyful to be sitting in your studio and just losing time and
crafting
and making.
And creating.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it is.
And
using
wish
your
I had done it a long time ago.
Fingers and just doing all of that. And so to get inspiration, so do you get the material for, like, is there a hat material shop that you go to?
Yeah, there's an industry that really does support millinery. There's a few suppliers that import in, and look, it's a beautiful industry because millinery materials are so forgiving. You can actually walk into or go through someone's vintage collection, and if it's actually beyond wear, I would never pull apart a hat that has got a lot of wear left in it. But some of the beautiful old straws are so beautiful that once you actually
made for a straw hat.
You can really revive it. You can wash it, dye it, and then you can actually reblock it. So in terms of an industry that's checking itself for the materials and
repurposing.
It is a fantastic one. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It is.
And so would you go into that store and be inspired and go, oh, look at this colour or fabric or whatever, and then think, or do you make up a shape in your head first? I mean, what comes first?
Well, I've revived my sketching. It's something I had put aside for a long time. I do a lot of sketching. And that is where I get my inspiration from. I am mad for watching catwalk parades endlessly, just watching garments and the way they flow. I just adore people that know fashion well. I feel like millinery is my alter ego, you know, because every day I don't live a fashion life. I'm quite comfortable in my stretchy pants and my runners.
But then you can be really connected to it.
I can absolutely be connected
fused with it almost. In fact, yes,
and so I
it.
feel like all of my production skills, all of my styling skills are really helping me
Oh
with
my
this.
God, I love that you said that.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I say. And it is, it's
absolutely,
like that. And it comes
absolutely,
and then it's money, time as well.
Absolutely, I've been approached for photo shoots. Can I, can I look at the wardrobe? And that's because I never tell a stylist what to do, but it's like, well, maybe I'll be inspired to actually make something that'll help elevate a look. Yeah, it's wonderful. While I was actually studying, I was lucky enough to work in the studios of two amazing Melbourne milliners, and I learnt so much through that time. You know, you think you get to a certain age and you think, you know, oh no, I've gone back to scratch. I stitched in Louise McDonald's studio, and I worked along her assistant at that stage, who has now gone off and doing wonderful things of her own. She's now the president of the Millinery Association, Lauren Ritchie.
Does that?
Yeah. And she would just quietly whisper in my ear, you know, if you just turn the hat around the other way and stitch, and I had all these light bulb moments.
Wow.
And then I was lucky enough to spend some time
with... How supportive?
Incredible. Do you know, it's interesting, it is a hugely supportive industry.
That's interesting.
Hugely supportive industry.
That doesn't always happen.
No,
that competition head comes up and people think.
Well, you know, I mean, there's only a selected market that we're all wanting to work to, but I've only found support. I worked with Jill Humphreys. Do you know the label Millinery Jill?
Yes.
Remarkable work, and I got such good advice from her. I had moments where she would say, "Where's your website?" I'm not ready. You'll never be ready. Just do it. You'll never be ready. Just do it. And I've got to say, those words have stuck with me. When I feel like I'm maybe not at perfect, it doesn't matter. Just get yourself out there and, you know, try and make it happen.
Yes.
So that was the best advice.
Yeah. And that is probably not just for your new business.
Oh no,
but
it's for everything. Absolutely, absolutely. Well, when I got the phone call to come and sit and talk to you, I thought, yeah, I'll get out of my comfort zone and sit in the chair and say hello, because I'm much more comfortable on the other side of the camera.
We just had this massive conversation about that this morning.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just starting the show was, you know, terrifying.
Yeah.
And I thought, no, because this has been in my head for 3 years.
Yeah, good on you.
And it was all of that, you know, come on, you just need to start. It can be clumsy, it doesn't have to be perfect.
No, it doesn't have to be
perfect.
perfect.
And it can be all over the shop, and you can look back at it and laugh and go, oh, another.
Well, that's how everyone's skills grow. Everyone, and everything you do, it's trial and error and practice. Yeah. Strongly believe that. It's taken me a long time to work it out, but I got there.
Also reminding yourself about that, because we were saying this, I'm very good at saying that, and then I go straight back to going, oh, it's not good enough.
Yeah.
It's got to be better.
Yeah.
But really, it's just about starting and doing. No one expects it to be perfect.
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm saying that out loud because I'm trying to get it into my brain.
I'm a strong believer of that. I often say to people, look, I'm just going to say this out loud to see if it makes sense or whether we should shelve it.
Yeah.
And if you say things out loud, it will resonate, or you go, no, we need to move on. So
That's right.
Yeah. I talk out loud all the time.
Oh, fabulous. How fabulous. I'm so glad that you came in today.
Yeah.
And I just am so in love with your headpiece. Now, Lisa actually made me a beautiful, was it vintage?
It's lame.
Lame.
Yeah.
Lame. Amazing. Yeah. And also, but my head was too big.
Yeah, we're going to do a refit.
Fit into that. So there was that. But you wait. And then she brought it in a most beautiful box, and it had a beautiful sticker on it and a beautiful card. So there's all of that. All of that beautiful stuff going over there. So thank you so much for coming in and sharing your journey. And you're fascinating. I love that you're still doing it. And,
thank you.
And just don't forget that you are one of the most shit hot producers around.
Thank you.
And relevant, and age should never be a thing. And you're
quite
all
right.
of that.
Age shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be. It's never. And so look, I reckon we'll be doing something together at some point. Don't worry about that.
Good.
I love it.
Watch this space.
Watch this space. ... Thanks, Lisa Watt.